Hello, my name is Lindsay Brown. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay, guys, so today I want to discuss my opinions and my views on a debate that I seen, or a conversation that I seen between a guy called Jamie Bryson, and who's from Northern Ireland, and a guy from the south of Ireland. And I hope I pronounce this correctly, as it is an Irish name, but I think it's Tadhg Hickey. Okay, so these are all my opinions, they're all my views on what I see. Okay, so first of all, Tag A mentioned that apparently 47% of kids, more or less, young adults, I guess, under the age of 24, want an All Ireland. Now, my opinion on an All Ireland is I don't believe it's a discussion for now. I believe between the UK and Ireland, there's a lot bigger issues to be sorted out before this is even a discussion. But another thing I want to note on that is who's completing these surveys? Because I see these surveys out all the time. Oh, but 47% of this and whatever, 60% of this and whatever it may be. I don't know about you, but I've never completed one of these surveys myself. So there's bound to be, if I'm not completing any of these surveys, now I know I'm not 24, but I mean in surveys in general about these statistics that come out, because I've not completed any of them. So who is it that's completing these surveys? And my concern on this particular one would be, is it all university? Because we know how programmed all the university people are nowadays, right? We can see it. We can see it in the streets. We can see it with their views and their opinions, that they don't really know each other. They don't really know themselves anymore. I study a lot to do with the mindset, as anybody knows or follows me knows that. And you'll hear a lot of these. I was listening to a guy called Bob Proctor, and we're educated. If you go to university, you really are just educated on stuff. You don't actually learn who you are, right? You're just sort of told this stuff, and you're expected to believe all that. You're not actually encouraged to find out exactly who you are. So if it is university people, well then, I don't know if I fully believe that number, right? But I would love to know if the kids from housing executive estates in all over Northern Ireland, I'd love to know if they actually completed this survey. Because I don't know. I don't fully trust it. Let me put it that way. I definitely do not fully trust it. So then he goes on then to talk about that what he wants is an Ireland for all, right? And as usual, these guys, they all inclusive for all cultures and all faiths, right? So again, it's putting that idea out there that diversity and inclusion and all this kind of stuff is absolutely going to be brilliant for the country. But we can clearly see from what's happening today that that's not the case. And to me, if you are somebody that's wanting an All Ireland, should you not be wanting an All Ireland for the Irish, right? Why does they always have to bring up, and I think it's that because they want to look good. Oh, this will make me look good. This will make me everybody think I'm a brilliant person because I want to help everybody. Well, what about wanting to help your own? I mean, if you look at families, you certainly want to help your own family before you help other people, right? You want to help your own community. It's natural to want to help the people that you love and you care about more. So the fact that these people want to help all sorts of strangers just to look good without actually helping their own people, I just don't get it, okay? I don't get it. If somebody can explain it to something that maybe I'm not understanding, then I'd love it explained. But it's always gone down that inclusive in all cultures. Well, we see across the world, and a lot of these cultures that we're bringing in, they don't make us feel welcome in their culture, And I'm not saying that two wrongs make a right or anything like that, but we have to be realistic is what I'm saying. We have to be realistic, and we have to look at the demographic now, and we have to see, unless you're completely blind, you can see that at the minute this is not working. Maybe with better integration or people that align with our culture more, maybe that would work more. But at the minute, it's not. It's not. And it really confuses me about how blind these people are to their own people, to their own people's opinions and views. So that was the guy Tag was talking like that. And Jamie then mentioned, well, not all unionists are Protestants. And he mentioned that the polling showed that. Again, let's say I don't fully believe the polling, but what I do believe is the people that I'm talking to on a daily basis. And I speak to Catholics and Protestants from Northern Ireland on a daily basis. And let me tell you, I agree with Jamie on this one. And that's me speaking face to face to people, right? That's me speaking face to face to people, and hearing that there is a lot of Catholics in the north that don't want an All Ireland right now. Again, we're never saying never. These people aren't saying never to me, but they are saying for now they do not want it. They don't want it. So I again, I don't know if Jamie's poll's right, because again, I'm not fully thinking on that, but I do definitely agree with what he's saying, and you know, I try my best to be fair on it all, and be open minded about it all. I genuinely am. And again, if anybody has any, wants to explain back to me where I'm getting things wrong, or maybe their perspective on things, then I'm more than happy, really, really happy to listen to that. So the tag then goes on to say that Westminster is serving no one. And he's correct on that. He's 100% correct on that. But then he goes on to say, and this part made me laugh. Then he goes on to talk about that getting back into the EU would be an opportunity. Well, I don't think many people here think it's an opportunity. And actually, if you spoke to the real people, you might actually find out that the reason why a lot of the Catholics from the north don't want an All Ireland right now is because it's in the EU. Do you know? So it just goes to show again how, what's the word I'm looking for? How disconnected some of these people are from us, the people, the real people from these countries. And another thing, he's talking about Westminster not serving us, and I get it. It's not serving the whole of the UK right now, but is Ireland? Is Ireland's government serving the Irish? I'll leave that one with you, but I'm sure you'll get a giggle out of that. So then, as usual, insults start to fly, and we try. We know that was coming from the. No offense, Tag, if you see this, but you start throwing insults, and that's how they operate. When they sort of can't get their point across because their point probably doesn't make any sense, they start to throw insults, right? And I just think that throws the whole debate. He starts calling him, you're cuddly and this and that, and a man, they're not gonna they when you're on a debate like this, throwing things like that, it's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. So so then Tag also goes on to say then that he states that, all Unionist and Republican viewpoints are all welcome. And he can't leave it there. He can't leave it there. He has to then add in, and immigrants, and all the immigrants. Now, I am not saying that people that were born in our countries and have fitted in and are living a good life here, are fitting into our culture and, working and doing their thing. I'm not saying that, we shouldn't listen to everybody. But it's this rhetoric that they always have to bring it back. And it's all, in my mind, it's just all to look good. They think this makes them look good, and it may make them look good to the globalists, but it doesn't make them look good to their own people. They all live in this wee bubble, and they think they're right because they're not speaking to anybody outside their own wee bubble. And it may not age well. Let me put it that way. It may not age well. So Tadhg Hickey, he was wearing an anti-Zionist t-shirt, right? Jimmy hadn't brought anything up about anything else. He but of course, Tadhg had to bring up Palestine. Now, Jimmy then brought up Israel, right? But I had noticed that he hadn't brought anything like that up until it was brought up first. So again, it's thinking about everybody else and not actually thinking about the people from Ireland, Northern Ireland, whatever we want to call it. Well, it's two places, isn't it? Gonna get a load of stick for that, aren't I? What else did I notice? Oh, going back down to yes, that the UK has let us down. And we're not. Nobody's going to deny that. I don't think anybody on, if we want to call it the left or the right, whatever. I don't think anybody's going to deny that our governments are letting us down. They're the problem. Okay, we all know that, and I'd love both sides to listen to that, because that's something that we all have in common. Apart from the right isn't getting paid from the governments. The left, a lot of them are. I'm not saying this boy is. I don't know this boy's financial thing. Not saying he is. I'm just saying that we know some of them are. Okay. But guys, we got to also think about that the people, that no matter whether you like it or not, Northern Ireland is part of the UK. And by our government not sitting over there, our First Ministers and our government not sitting over there in Westminster, that's a major problem. You can say that you're not sitting over there, but at the end of the day, it's facts, right? So to me, our own government in Northern Ireland is letting us down by not doing that, right? You know, you, it's facts. It is what it is. And by you not being over there and speaking up for your people, whether it's something I disagree with or not, you're not over there speaking up for your people. And I just don't think that's the right way to go about things. I really, really don't. And I think they're letting their own people down. Although they're letting their own people down in so many ways, right? Which is us. They're letting us down in so many ways. So then, and again, this is another thing that I noticed from the far left, if we want to call them. He started then telling Jamie that Jamie, actually, I don't even think Jamie wants what he says he wants. See that there play, trying to do that on somebody, starting to name call, calling him cuddly, in other words, trying to put him down, and then trying to tell him what his own thoughts are. These seem to be a lot of tactics that these guys play, and I don't know, are they playing it to try and get a reaction out of you by starting to name call or starting to tell you, oh, well, you don't even know your own self. Well, I've got news for people. A lot of people on the left don't know their own selves, right? And so then, because they don't truly know their own selves, they then try to put that on somebody else, because that's what we do. We put our own insecurities onto somebody else, right? And like, I've been through the journey for a long time now, getting to know who I was, because I was like a lot of these guys. I was programmed from the education system, thinking I wasn't good enough, and so I didn't really know who I was. And it takes a long time to get to know who you are. And I think that's, like I said at the start, these kids going to university and stuff, they're being told what to believe, and they're being educated on what the university wants them to educate on, instead of actually spending the time to learn about their own selves, right? Which is why we have all these lot of, and not the only reason of course, but why we have a lot of mental health issues, and this triggers me and that triggers me and all this kind of carry on, is because people really don't know who they are. And I think that's a major problem, and I think a lot of people should spend the time getting to know exactly who they are. Look, it took me 20 years, I'm not going to lie, right? And I'm sitting here over here saying I knew who I was all along. It took me 20 years to get to know exactly who I am. And it is definitely the most powerful thing that you could ever do. So anyway, just want to make it a short video on what I notice about these debates. Thank you all for listening. Subscribe, do whatever it is you do on these social media apps.